Welcome back to another episode of the Game Language Podcast, where we deduce, dissect, and discuss video games and whether or not they speak our language. I'm Troy, and with me always is
Jason.
What's up, brother?
Doing good with these new cameras.
Yeah,
Pointing
what's
at
up,
you.
And then we have a guest, the one, the only, one of our avid listeners and best friends, Shy. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Everything's good. First of all, thank you, everyone, for letting me be here. Thank you for, whose studio this is for allowing me to be here as well. So I just wanted to do the housekeeping to say thank you for real. Just letting me be here. So
No, we're happy to have you here, brother.
And thank you.
And thank you for showing up. You know, we like having guests. They can help us out a lot. Makes us more interesting.
Mm-hmm. And you have a couple games that I really want to talk about with you. So I've been waiting to have a conversation.
Yeah, it was so... We'll get there.
All right. Well, before we get into anything else, we do have a couple of introduction questions that we go through with our guests. Mm-hmm. Just general things. I've sent these over to you, so I hope you had a little bit of time to think about them.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, how often do you game?
I mean, if we're going to do about an hour count, with life recently, it's been a little bit lower, but usually I'd say now probably about 46 hours a week. Just depending on what's going on.
Light gaming, that's good.
Yeah, a little bit of light gaming, but I think I've been trying to maximize the time in deciding which games to play. Like a lot of games I can just pick up and just drop.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily always have the time or the brain space to sit and do these big, massive games. So, every now and again, I'll crunch out a big one, but lately I've been just taking small chunks out of smaller games.
That's not a problem. I think that's a healthy amount of hours to be gaming. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely on the unhealthy side. So
Likewise.
Yeah. I wish I could be, disciplined enough to do 4 to 5 hours a week of gaming.
Oh, man.
So another question, what game genre stands out to you the most?
Probably fighting games, even though I'm not the best at them.
That's okay.
And it was so funny because I was actually having this conversation with a friend of ours recently, and he was like, one thing, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but he's like, one thing that was interesting about you speaking about me is that even though I'm not super good at one thing, and y'all know this, y'all played me in a bunch of games, I've touched just about everything.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's if y'all bring a game, chances are I got something. I got something in there.
Yeah. You're normally not asking me, what does this button do? What does that button do? You jump in, you have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there are times where it's I haven't played this game before, but I'm always down. And then people challenge me and I'm always just have I played this game? No. Am I going to show up? Absolutely. So fighting games always like that. I always really did like the camaraderie that they bring, and always that feeling of when you walk into an arcade and you walk past a crazy combo and you're like, yo, what is that? What's going on? So I would say fighting games the most, and then also probably single player RPGs, because I played a lot of those. Our first serious console, we had a Sega, but then we didn't go to Nintendo, so we went to PlayStation 1. So I was getting all the Final Fantasies. I was getting, then we got a PS2, and we've been PlayStation ever since. So in that era, I was just playing so many RPGs and just putting my hands on so many things.
Yeah, the PlayStation 2 was the RPG era. That's where I got to play a lot of different things. I think I played Dark Crystal, not Dark Crystal.
Dark Cloud?
Dark Cloud
yeah.
2 specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Dark Cloud 1 was on the PS1, wasn't it?
No, it's PS2.
It's PS2 also? Okay.
It made me want to get a PS2 because it looked like Link on the front cover.
It did. I did not get
sense.
I played the guy who had the little what is it, the British hat on. And, yeah. Dark Cloud 2. I like that game. I like that. What is it? The material mechanic, how things would break and you could fix them. Mm-hmm. But yeah. All right. So what are some game mechanics you enjoy or wish were better represented?
I'm so glad that this is a question, because this is something that I wish more games did. So, and it's so funny because I remember them happening in games I didn't really play too much, like the Atelier games where it's those, JRPGs, like the Atelier,
the
Alchemist games. Where it's when you go to the store, you can just queue up everything you're going to buy and just buy it at one time.
Yeah.
Instead of being okay, I want 8 potions, buy. okay, now I want, 6 ethers and all this other stuff. It's like, just let me slide it all up and then just purchase it all at one time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would save so much time, and I wish more games did that. It's like those little touches.
Bro, you need to get into Dragon Quest.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Was it Dragon Quest?
Dragon Quest does that too.
Yeah, I was thinking,
Beautiful.
did they do it in Dragon Quest 11 also? Yep.
Yeah,
I was wondering
it's
the last time
so
I played
beautiful.
something that did that. Yeah, that is such a unique, like, good mechanic. Just say, I want all these and then cash out.
Oh my gosh, it makes me so happy. So when I play other games that don't have it, which is the majority of games, I'm always just like, if y'all would just let me
let me just let me make a cart.
I think the most recent game that did it was Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yes.
That one does.
Yeah.
I was gonna
say,
say,
I love it. Yes. Play Dragon's Dogma 2, everyone.
Yes.
It's a great game.
And then we have our final question. Which video game character best represents you?
So this actually was something that I kind of did struggle with, because there's so many video game characters, and so I think that I kind of came down, not really a deep pull, but I'm gonna go to Final Fantasy V. I'm gonna pick the main character. I'm gonna pick Bart's Colossus.
Oh, really?
And the reason why is, like, when we look at him from a simple sense, he's somebody that is like, kind of easygoing, also really just wants to help people. And that's something that I'm like really about as well. Like, being positive or trying to stay positive, even when it feels like the world's kind of burning, and then always just wanting to help people. So it's one of those things where it's like, when I play that game, I'm like, I kind of feel where he's coming from, where he's like, okay, on to the next thing. I'm like, so I'm going to go there today.
Yeah, I think that's cool. That's great. I never played Final Fantasy V, but I play with Dissidia with a lot of friends.
Yes.
So I've gotten to glean into a lot of these characters like Furion, Bart's, and all of them. And I do like Bart's personality.
Yeah.
But I do hate fighting against him. That's all I can say.
It's one of those things, especially in like Duodecim, where like I main him.
Yeah.
You know that.
I know. We fought.
I remember I picked him, and you were like, God damn it.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Wait, am I allowed to curse on this show?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But it was just one of those that I remember that, and I honestly do like that game because they paired him a lot with Zidane, and I was like, that actually makes sense.
It makes sense.
And so
they look like they both have rat tail energy. So
like very much getting along, very much
just a bunch of like little dudes.
Yeah, just hanging out. Whatever happens today just happens today.
And then I have a bonus final question.
Okay,
if you can take one item from any video game character, what would you take and what would you use it on?
Ooh,
yeah.
Oh man, I wasn't ready for that one.
Yeah. No, that's a like a sleeper one.
If I could take any item,
anything, any item,
video game character, and use it. Okay. So it has to be like a tangible item. It doesn't. Can I like?
It could be whatever you want, whatever you can take from them.
Okay, you know what? Anybody that stops time, I need that.
Yeah.
I need that because if I could stop time to do my laundry, so I feel like, I'm not wasting my day doing laundry and be like, man, I'd rather go do something else. Anything that stops time, I might take that.
Okay.
You like the Sands of Time from Prince of Persia?
Yeah.
You take the
You don't even have to do laundry. You see a stain, reverse time.
Yeah, reverse time. Oh my God, that would be so awesome.
Never do laundry again. Reverse time every time.
Like you take that one bite where you like, as you were looking at it, you're like, oh, that could like drip. I'm gonna chance it.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm gonna go.
Yeah. All right. That's a good answer. Okay. Great job. Those are all of our intro questions, and then we get into what we always like to talk about. Man, what you guys been playing?
Am I first?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, so what I've been playing lately, like I said, been playing small chunks of like games. So I mentioned this earlier, but I've been playing a lot of Theatrhythm Final Fantasy, which is just a Final Fantasy rhythm game. There's not a lot to it, but I've been having a lot of fun with it because, you know, you play those games, you know the music and all that other stuff. It's kind of nice to like sit through, and it has a quest mode where like you go through, you unlock a game and you go through it. It's very funny because Final Fantasy 14 has like 30 something tracks in its quest line, whereas like 8 has like 12 to 18 or something like that. Yeah. So and then there's also 2 more and then I'll end mine. There's this game called The Road Warden that I've been playing.
What's it about? So
you are what is the Road Warden, and you are being sent to a peninsula to like kind of explore around, kind of gather data is the way you've been sent by the city. But the Road Warden, their job is to make sure that the area is like safe and kind of help different villages and stuff like that. It's a text adventure, you know, it has pictures and everything. But the one thing I really enjoy about it is it kind of feels like a single player D&D campaign. Yeah. And you get to kind of go around and go to different villages. And I'm still very early in the game, but one thing that stuck out to me was you go to this kind of like busted up village, and this guy's like, hey, if you escort me tomorrow to this next village, you know, I may have something I could pay you, all that other stuff. And so you're like, okay, cool. He says, come back the next day, like in game. You go to the next village and you talk to like the mayor of that village, and she's like, the further away that person is from this village, the better. And now you have to do that kind of back and forth of just like, okay, do I care about the potential money that I could get from this guy? Or am I going to sit here and like, you know, honor what this mayor is saying of like, keep this person away from us. Yeah. You know, and so you're kind of just going around and getting into different stories and different interactions that you have with like people. And then there's like combat, but it's not like actual like press buttons combat. It's just like, what decisions do you make here? How do you approach people? Yeah. Some people you can be kind of jokey or be very friendly, or you can kind of try to come off sympathetic, or you can be neutral as you're trying to interact with people. And so I've been having a lot of fun with that as well. It's been kind of nice to like come home late at night and just like, you know, let me see what I get into and, you know, Road Warden. And it also doesn't hold your hand, where it's just like, okay, you can go into your journal and says, go do this. Yeah. And then you kind of got to figure it out from there.
And is this on your phone? Like what?
This is on PC.
On PC? Yeah. Nice.
So that, and then lastly, Virtual Fighter 5 Reload.
Yes. Yeah. Who you playing as?
Sarah Bryant.
Sarah Bryant?
Yeah.
Nice.
Virtual Fighter is one of those fighting games that like I have very distinct memories because my sister bought Virtual Fighter 4 on PS2. Yeah. And we just played that a lot. And so then 5 came out and you play that a lot, and then it kind of went dormant, but I really do appreciate how simple it is. 3-button fighter, let's just scrap. So it's like, you know, just pop it in there, and some of the muscle memory was coming back too, I was like, oh yeah, I know that this goes into this and I could do this, and bouncing off the wall. So I've been playing that, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is good.
Yeah, we had a session on that just a couple of nights ago before I had to leave for a work trip, and one of our friends, Birch, he definitely remembers how to play the game because he was running the freaking room for a while, dude, before we could finally start getting wins on him. And Virtual Fighter has been fun. I'm probably gonna have to throw some. We're definitely gonna throw down tonight.
Oh, 100%. Yes. Like, and I just really appreciate how about the fighting it is, where, you know, sometimes in fighting games there are things that happen and I'm kind of like, all right, game, fuck you. Like, what was that? But like, for the most part, what I experienced with Virtual Fighter, I'm like, that makes sense of why this happened. And I think the simplicity of having 3 buttons allows new players to come in. There's a lot more links with combos than people expect, but there's still a lot of depth there. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that it's making a comeback.
Same. Yeah. I'm very glad.
Yeah.
What about you, man? What you been playing?
Oh, what have I been playing? Whole lot of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Oh yeah.
PC. Yes. It's become a full-time job at this point. But I've been loving the hell out of it. I'll go more into it when we get to impressions, but you know, say I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Yeah. Other than that, I've been playing Virtua Fighter 5.
Yeah. Who are you playing? I know who you're playing.
Yeah, we both play the same guy because, of course, Gene Kujo.
Yes.
And I want to call him John because he is totally JoJo. He's just a JoJo ripoff. He does the same poses, like that. Just he's so funny, and I love him. But yeah, that game's it's my first Virtua Fighter. I like that it's way more just about fists, just beat the shit out of each other. I'm still coming to grips with the input system. I wish that command normals worked like they do in other games. I don't like having to tap and do it, having to...
Like Smash Bros kind of a thing?
Yeah, I don't like the Smash Brothers style of inputting. But again, it's not a deal breaker. I think the reason it sucks for me to grasp is because I'm used to like crouch blocking and then responding by just staying crouched and pressing the attack button that I wanted to use, either punch or kick. But in this game, you have to crouch low and then let go and to do your low attack after blocking low. And I'm just like, I don't like that, but I'll get used to it is kind of where I'm at on it.
I do have a couple of questions for you. I've had to like retrain my brain to press a block button. Have y'all had the same experience where you're like, oh crap, like where I was thinking to myself, I was like, I was blocking, and then I was like, I wasn't blocking.
I've shut my mouth a million times during that opening fight night we had because I wanted to be like, I was totally blocking, but I was like, fingers lifted up because I have it on my third finger on the hitbox, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, you get hit with like the knee, I'm flying up in the air, and I'm just like, no, it wasn't. No. Do your thing. Juggle me. Go off, King. You deserve this. I was wide open.
I can't say I struggle with it as much with the block button, only because there was a time where I was really getting into Mortal Kombat. So I just put it on the same button as Mortal Kombat, and it took a night or so to remember to press it. But yeah.
So when did you guys realize that low punch was actually super powerful?
Yo, low punch is your best defense. It's just...
That's the only way I got a victory on this guy, would just be like spacing him.
It is so crazy.
Yeah.
And the one thing I appreciated is just that low punch that everybody has it.
Everybody's got it.
And so it's like, oh, are they going dumb crazy over there? If you can get a good duck and a low punch, let me go ahead and interrupt everything that's going on.
Yeah, let me block the first two hits. I know the follow-up's going to be a high because it normally is, because we don't know the ways to trick people. Yeah. It's a high. I low punch him. Now it's my turn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My turn now.
My turn. Low punch. It's Tekken 8's, or it's Tekken's low punch, but way better. Oh, because it's just so much faster.
Yeah.
So much faster.
Yeah. The only other games I've been playing I've been playing Street Fighter 6 again because I'm getting prepped up for Mai. I'm very excited for her. Especially since she's not a command character. I can't do hold inputs. So knowing that she's just motion inputs, I'm like,
yeah,
thank you. And Donkey Kong Country Returns. I haven't been playing it as much as the last week's, thanks to Final Fantasy, but I've made progress on a couple levels. I'm still having fun with it.
Yeah,
it's a good time. What about you? What you been playing?
Virtua Fighter, just like everybody else. It's been a good time. I haven't gotten super lost into the combos of the character yet, but I have watched a couple videos on like just general character mechanics and stuff. I've watched a video on how to play Virtua Fighter. That's been really fun. So I want to sit down and really like dive in and learn the character deeply, because it seems like John is a really fun character. And he seems like Jin from Tekken 8, but just a little bit better.
Yeah.
So been enjoying that. Still dabble in Prince of Persia. That game, I really, really love that. I think that it's like an amazing Metroidvania. So I played as much as I can, which is not as much as I'd like to, because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has been like taking over my life, and I'm clearing everything, every single thing, every single objective in each zone has to be 100%ed before I move on to the next place. So
I've been doing the same, but I have given up on one thing.
What is that?
The piano pieces.
See, I'm still gonna do that.
Oh no! See, I failed Barrett's theme like 15 times, and I was just like, dude, I cannot do this. Another 3 fucking minutes. No! I quit. I won't do it.
So interesting, the piano themes, because it's like, I don't know if it's still the way it was like in the what's the word I'm looking for? In the whatever demo. Whatever.
Yeah, it is. It's
it's
the
a stick,
joystick.
It's so interesting because it's like you can play instruments in 14, and I remember playing in 7 Rebirth, and I was like, don't we have a better already made system to do this?
The problem with the in Rebirth is, at least from what I've learned, is you have to pull and release each stick to hit the note. And I thought you'd at least be able to slide through notes, but you can't. And that if you could slide through notes, it'd be so much easier.
Yeah.
And I did want to state too, like when I say I failed, it means I didn't get the highest mark. Which
Yeah,
means
right,
you don't get
all
the
items.
bonus.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's why I quit. It's just because you have to go through the whole 3 minutes every single time, and it's got like a 15-second intro of doon doon doon. Doon, and I'm just like, can you just get to the point where I have to press the inputs, please? I am pissed.
But yeah, that's about all I've been playing.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, one shout out. Sword of Convaleria on my phone. It's super fun, like Final Fantasy Tactics type gacha game. It's very cool. It's one of the few gachas I play where the characters have a really cool skill tree. And it's been very fair. I haven't spent a lot of money on it, maybe like $10-15, just because I wasn't gonna have enough time to grind out a character before I had to leave. But yeah, Sword of Convaleria, super fucking fun game.
Sword of Convaleria. Okay.
Yeah,
I have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's a dope phone game. So.
Okay. Bet.
Oh, actually, yeah, there was one more other game, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd be playing that more if it weren't for Final Fantasy.
Exactly. I can't believe it just dropped like same day. But we'll be here forever to keep talking about every game we've played. So let's find out what's going on in the world of gaming with our 3 bites of news stories. First news story on the docket today: EA stocks plummet due to the performance of EA Sports FC 25 and Dragon Age: The Veilguard missing sales targets. Due to the performance of Dragon Age, BioWare has been affected by layoffs, and the entire Dragon Age team has been disbanded. And has been moved around the company because BioWare is solely focusing on Mass Effect now.
Really?
Yeah. The thing is like EA stocks plummet. That wasn't really Dragon Age. Dragon Age didn't have that high of expectations. $3 million for a game that had a 10-year development cycle is really not that long, not that much in a AAA space.
Yeah.
But it missed its sales target by half, so it only had 1.5 million people when it needed 3. The main thing that's been the cause of the stock plummet has been EA Sports FC. And you might be wondering, what the hell is that? It's the new FIFA. They lost the license to FIFA 2 years ago. Yeah. And this is the second EA Sports FC game. So you would think that maybe the first one would have like bombed because they lost the FIFA name, and that like most people would have been like, what the hell's that game? No, that game did extremely well, just as good as FIFA. Yeah. But this year, the second one did not. Its Ultimate Team, its microtransactions are like way down compared to previous years, which for EA, they kind of used that to essentially fund all their other video games. Yeah. So it makes Veilguard's performance hit harder for those single-player games because now they don't have the safety net of Ultimate Team's money to protect them. So, things are a bit dire. Like, Mass Effect has to do good, and I'm pretty sure BioWare won't be around anymore if it doesn't. So that makes me a bit sad.
And that's kind of like very unfortunate because like I think it's one of those things where eventually the way that they run their safety net like sports games was eventually going to come back to get them, because it's like, I play sports games every now and again, whatever, I get an itch, okay, cool, I'm not going to pay full price for them, but it's like me being somebody who's like, okay, this was on sale for like $10, and you have to like go through all these things about the microtransactions, and you're constantly being pushed things and all this other stuff, and then not only that, the quality of the games are not actually increasing. Eventually people are like getting to a point where I know a bunch of like Madden fans or like FIFA fans or whatever, they're like, I'm not buying the next game because I just have it here. And when you have that kind of like weird monopoly on it and it fails, like you said, it's just, but it really sucks because they're just taking it out on other things that would, you know what I mean, is instead of just like, hey, instead of just looking at this and actually fixing this, we're just gonna disband.
Well, I will say though, while I'm sad about the disbanding of the team, I do understand where EA is coming from. The last 3 BioWare games have been financial failures.
Okay.
Anthem, Mass Effect Andromeda, and Dragon Age the Veilguard all missed their sales targets. They all hurt EA really badly financially. And while I would never... I believe in BioWare. I believe they can come back and make a game, especially if they have better circumstances. Like, if you know anything about Veilguard, you know that it wasn't worked on for 10 years. It was restarted multiple times. But at the same time, as a business, how many more millions of dollars can you keep throwing at something that doesn't give you a return on your investment? That's not very fair, I don't think, to be completely mad at EA when I'm like,
true.
Now BioWare has dropped the ball for 3 games in a row. That's any other company would have fired them too. So it's actually, I'm glad that they're still letting them do Mass Effect. So I really hope that they knock it out of the park so they can make a good case for them to stick around for a long time, because I do believe that they are a good, positive company for gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting to see companies that have historically done well or have good hits under their name to be struggling, because it's I know Platinum's going through it as well.
Platinum is
they just had a bunch of people left and all that other stuff, and so I'm with you. I hope that the next Mass Effect game actually does well and comes out and is pretty okay, as somebody who's not a super big fan of Mass Effect, but I think it's good to have these games in that space and to have these companies in that space. Yeah.
So with the new Mass Effect, do you think that that this is going to be something where they try to capture people like you and I who don't play all the Mass Effects, or do you think that they're going to continue on their current trajectory? What do you think?
So what I'm hoping is that I actually hope that they don't try to go the mass appeal route. Okay. That's what Veilguard did, and I feel like that's the reason Veilguard has had such a bad reception. Yeah. Because while I enjoyed the game, I gave it around a 7 to 8. I did find it to be very sanitized, and when compared to other Dragon Age games, I was like, this doesn't feel like Dragon Age. And so hearing hardcore fans be like, I felt like this game really slapped me in the face after a 10-year wait, I'm like, that's what happens with modern audience. I mean, when you try to expand a franchise that isn't known for being mass appeal, when you try to make it mass appeal, you run the risk. Not always. It's not always a guarantee fail. But you run the risk of alienating the people, the diehards that were with you forever.
But when you're gone for so many years, you kind of have to look to bring new people into the franchise, because you don't know what could have happened to your fans over the last 10 years and what they've been doing, what they're capable of doing. They've grown up. Maybe they can't game as much.
That's true. No, I mean, that's why I'm saying it's a risk. There's no right or wrong. It's just how you do it.
Right.
I think that Dragon Age needed to do that, but they didn't.
Maybe they didn't.
They didn't execute it.
They didn't execute well. Yeah, I definitely don't think that they executed it well, because I played Dragon Age Inquisition, and I played a little bit of Dragon Age 2, and Veilguard felt way different in it felt like the Dragon Age redheaded stepchild or something. It was it did not feel authentic to the Dragon Age realm, not in look or feel, for most of it. And certain characters who had been pinnacle to the game were not even mentioned or completely disregarded. So
yeah, I feel like it's, for me, Dragon Age Veilguard was the T-rated version of Dragon Age, which is an M-rated series.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it stinks. So my heart goes out to the staff that are affected by it, and I hope that you're able to land on your feet.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, right as of right now, it seems like Dragon Age is dead. But if Mass Effect can turn it around, and turn BioWare around,
it'll come.
I think that you'll get Dragon Age, but you'll be waiting another 10 years before. Yeah, but I will say this, at least as someone who beat Veilguard, at least it feels conclusive. You're not left being the big mystery. It's just they do leave you with a little bit of a teaser, but it's it's such a teaser that you're like, oh, that could be something. Doesn't mean it's going to be.
Yeah, but if it doesn't go anywhere,
yeah. Now on to our next bit of news. Still keeping on the somewhat weird restructuring news. Sony has a new sole CEO. I don't know if you guys remember last year they went to a 2 CEO format with Herman Hulst and Hideaki Nishino.
Yeah.
Sony has now demoted Herman. He is no longer co-CEO. He has been returned back to his old position as head of PlayStation Studios worldwide. And Hideaki Nishino is now the sole CEO of Sony.
Any mention on why? Or?
Yeah, it was the failures. Sony did not do well this last year. Helldivers 2 was an insane commercial success, but was completely offset by, as of currently, the largest financial failure in the gaming industry, which was Concord.
Yeah,
that game costed like over $400 million,
oh my gosh,
and they refunded everybody who bought it, so they like completely just lost everything. That game, they got nothing back on it.
Did anybody here play that game?
Yeah,
he did.
I played it.
How long did you play it?
A couple hours.
Really? I downloaded the beta and I played it for 10 minutes. And after that 10 minutes, I was like, Yeah, and that really sucks because like I wanted it to be good because it looked cool, and like that's the thing is like the characters for the most part. I know a lot of people like there's a lot of controversy online, but I was looking at those characters, I was like, they got some bangers in here, like yeah, cool. And it's just like, man, if this was just a different game.
So I actually have a question for you that technically is a question for myself, which I'll answer, but with Marvel Rivals coming out, so let's use these two as examples. Marvel Rivals and Concord both came out, and they're both kind of like here to replace Overwatch. Okay. What is it, do you think, about Marvel Rivals that is so successful versus Concord, which was like an absolute failure outside of the recognizable characters?
I would say, and we've talked about this before, is Marvel Rivals, while being a similar game to Overwatch, like fits a different niche. Where I remember you saying this when we were like kind of playing the game and chatting once, where it's like, or you might have said it on cast, I think you said it on one of the podcast episodes, where it's like, if you still want to play a good shooter, you're going to play Overwatch. And I think that's what happened with Concord, is it was trying to be too much like Overwatch in the way of like how it plays or how it presented its, well, not how it presented itself, but it's like when I played the game and it was like, okay, you know, this is new, all this other stuff, it's a shooter, a hero shooter kind of thing. We already have one of those. We actually have a bunch of those. So how are you differentiating yourself? Is it through the style and the characters? Okay, yeah, that's cool, but then people didn't really take to that, and then the gameplay wasn't really separating itself in a way that was actually, I felt, significant in order to bring me back. And I think that's why, whereas Marvel Rivals is like, okay, yeah, we have this IP, but also it's a different game. Not everybody is a shooter, you know, and all that other stuff. And so I think that's why.
I think Marvel Rivals fits the it's almost like the counter to like an F1 or Forza game, where it's like it's the Mario Kart of hero shooters. And I don't mean that as like an insult. I adore Mario Kart and hold it in extremely high regard, but I find that Marvel Rivals is a much more fun like party game. Like I can play with someone who, not to be mean, they can suck complete ass, but if they're my friend and we're just like having a good time, it's just colorful and there's fun voice lines and
I would also say that I do think that that in Marvel Rivals, because of how varied the characters are, the piloting them is a little bit more fun than Overwatch. Just because I do love Overwatch a lot and I love shooting people, but it's all about the guns specifically. The abilities, they do shine, but it's about the guns. Marvel Rivals, the entire character's kit is really fun to mess around with. So, and just easy to digest. And it is a more forgiving game. The hitboxes aren't nearly as tight as Overwatch. So you can get away with like Spider-Man doing an uppercut and hitting somebody who's, you know, the distance between me and you, you know? So it's, I do like Marvel Rivals. I think that, what it did that Concord didn't do was having a extremely fun gameplay. Concord, there was something about the gameplay that was almost if Overwatch is sugar, that game is Splenda. Like something about it just didn't hit.
Can I actually piggyback off of that and say one thing that I also think that Concord didn't do well that, say, Overwatch and Marvel Rivals does, is that even if you don't know what a character's ability does, there is a little bit of intuitiveness where if you pay attention, you can kind of figure it out. With Concord, when I was doing things, I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this initially. So like I had to go read things where it's like you couldn't just pick a character and kind of like mess around a little bit and kind of figure it out and be like, oh, okay. Like, you know, I think about like with like playing Black Panther, and you throw the spear and it marks somebody, and then you dash into them and it takes the cooldown from that like dash ability immediately away. I didn't have to read that to figure that out. Yeah. You know, I just had to pay attention. Whereas like with Concord, I was just messing around. I was like, well, what does this do? Yeah.
I definitely picked an easy character. I picked the Soldier 76 clone. Yeah. So I just shot people and threw grenades. It was very easy. Yeah. So fair enough. But I didn't like playing it still. So.
I'll say that's one thing I kept hearing from you and other like YouTubers and streamers was that it just didn't feel fun to play. I think the gameplay just was. It didn't help that like a lot of people didn't gel with the characters. But I think that like. That's not always important. Usually game feel is. And if it's just not that fun to play, if you get bored playing it, that's never a good sign. Yeah. But yeah. So that was the reason for the restructuring.
Yeah, because didn't Sony like cancel a bunch of games after that?
They've canceled 8.
Oh my gosh.
They canceled a God of War live service game.
Boo.
I can't believe they actually greenlit that. Yeah, I actually think that because of like this massive live service like push and fail, the PS5 will go down as probably one of the worst console generations for PlayStation in history. I do.
As much as I hate to say it, I can agree with you and see where that is going, because like it was one of those things where, first of all, for the longest time, it was hard to get one. Yeah. Yeah. And then on top of that, all of your kind of exclusives and all this other stuff aren't really hitting the way you want.
They weren't even exclusive. You could play them on PS4.
Yeah, that too. That too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope they'll turn it around. I hope that they've just been cooking some single player games in secret to like make up for this. Yeah. But with how long game development takes, I actually feel like I'm not going to see another Blue Point game until PS6. Yeah. And that hurts. As someone who really loved their Shadow of the Colossus work and Demon Souls. Yeah. But to go on a bit of a brighter note, and this bite-sized news, Black Myth Wukong hit another very impressive sales milestone of 25 million. Wow. That is as much as Elden Ring. Wow. Damn. So it is, that game is the game that keeps on selling somehow.
I remember when it was like, I don't know if the first reveal was a concept video, but I remember thinking to myself, this game is not actually ever going to be made. And to have it be made and be selling as much as it does is mind-boggling.
Well, for me, it's crazy that it's hit these milestones so quick, because it hit 10 million on its first 2 weeks, which was impressive. But most games, that's when they kind of trickle out. Yeah. Like Resident Evil 2 is another game that just hit a major milestone recently. It hit 15 million. Yeah. That game came out in 2019 though. Yeah. And it sold 7 million its first year. So it's taken, 6 years to get an additional 6 million on its initial 7. Black Myth Wukong over doubled it, and it hasn't even been out for a year. It's been 6 months.
God, that is so interesting.
So we would most likely see a Black Myth Wukong too.
I think they've already confirmed that.
There's no way at this point with something that successful like that we're not going to see a second one.
No, it's crazy.
But I honestly think that's like really cool, because like Chinese mythology is actually really fucking baller. Yeah, it is. And so I remember, like, I haven't played the game, but I remember seeing the opening cutscene with all like the giant like figures that you're fighting, and I like got flashbacks kind of like Osiris Wrath and stuff like that. And I remember seeing those and getting like really hype. I was like, yes, like show me this tiny guy fighting, planet-sized beings, please. That's awesome. Yeah.
I was gonna say that was while I didn't think the game was like revolutionary, one of the things that I thought was the most impressive about Wukong was its enemy variety and like its artistry. I was like, being exposed to Chinese mythology made me go, I definitely want more action games in this setting. Yeah. Because it's really it's got its own unique flavor to like Japanese culture.
Yeah. So
yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, with that, we want to move on to our game.
Yeah.
The new staple, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I gave you a small rundown of that.
You did.
And again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is we choose 5 games. Of those 5 games, we choose 4. One of them will be left out. From those 4 games, we choose one of them, and we pick 3 sounds. Those 3 sounds will play. You get a chance to guess the game based off those 3 sounds. If you get it right, that's 3 points. Of those 4 games, not the same one as the one with the 3 sounds, we'll pick a game and choose 2 names of characters. If you can guess which game it is based off those characters, you get 2 points. And then finally, of the leftover games, we choose 1 and choose a title.
A word from the title.
A word from the title. A word from the title. And if you can guess that one, you get 1 point. Bonus point is if you can guess which game we left out of the 5 games. Okay. So you are on my team.
All right.
So we will have our combined points against Jason. It's nothing against you.
I know.
But, I brought this guest, so this one's on my team.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know what? Let's go ahead and start off with mine first so that you can see an example of the game, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
And just to let you know, it's Final Fantasy themed.
It is Final Fantasy themed. Yeah, there's always...
Thank you for that.
Yeah, because the 5 games will be Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy 15, and Final Fantasy 16.
Yes.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So it's a nice spread. All right. So we'll go ahead and play the 3 sounds from my first game, and we'll see if you can guess it.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was a sword slash.
Do you want to take a guess, or you want the other?
No.
All right. Sound 2.
Okay. Okay.
And then sound 3.
Is that Final Fantasy 7?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's Final Fantasy 14. Yes. So
Dang. Okay.
first one was a notification sound. So whenever you get like a notification. Number 2 is whenever you get an incoming tell. So anytime somebody messages you. And then the final one was a full party sound. So like when you have a full party. I figured you might get it because we hear those sounds all the time because we're always messaging each other and then creating parties for dungeons.
True.
Okay.
I should have known that. Okay. Okay.
All right. And then we'll go the 2 sounds or the 2 characters.
Yeah.
Okay. So Avis and Tiamat. You should know these 2. Avis and Tiamat. Think carefully. You heard these recently.
So,
I might be saying Avis.
yeah, is that
Tiamat.
is that Final Fantasy 7?
No, it's Final Fantasy 16. They're the dudes that you're working with in the beginning that get killed right away.
Oh my
There's
god.
Avis, Tiamat, and then one other guy. I didn't want to say his name, but yeah,
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. It should say their name with them right over the subtitles.
I don't have those on. I don't have them
Oh,
on.
dang it. Yeah, I figured you might remember them because you.
I've been playing it
You've been
without
playing 60
subtitles
Oh,
because I've been enjoying the movie-like experience.
he says their names.
Oh, man.
All right, and then
I don't remember.
and then
One word.
X.
Oh god. Final Fantasy 15.
No, Final Fantasy 10.
I thought you were throwing me through a loop on that one.
No,
that's
all right. Then can you guess which one I left out?
Final Fantasy 7.
No, Final Fantasy 15.
This is a 0 for me.
Oh, my gosh.
I have never done. You know what's funny? I got 6 last time.
Yeah, you got all 6. Yeah, you got 6 last time. I'm sorry. Dang.
No, don't even.
He really threw you for a loop.
You got me.
Damn.
All right.
I thought I hit home with Avis and Tiamat. I'm like, he just played this game. I'm sure he.
I don't remember the guys that die in the first 3 minutes, man.
But I thought you would have started the game like that, done that in the beginning scene a few times.
Oh,
so.
bro, no, I'm already on the spot where I'm about to go to the time skip. Like,
Oh, my bad.
No, it's not your bad. It's my bad. Did terrible on this. But you know what? It's all good. Let's see how you do with mine.
All right, and then
I was going to say,
we
you guys
We're on a
both
team.
guess.
Yeah, we
Okay,
both
great.
guess.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
A race, huh?
Oh.
Isn't that Final Fantasy 10?
Yeah, that's 10. That's
Titus. That's Titus. Or
Titus don't matter.
It's Titus for those who want to be specific, but it should be Titus because he's with the tide. He's water. It should be Titus, but we'll call him Titus.
We'll say you guys already got it. It is Final Fantasy 10. But you should play the other clips because that's not the one that I
was like, I recognize that voice.
Hey, you weren't supposed to see that.
Wait. Okay, wait, do the next one then.
Yeah. Oh man.
I went out of my way to find that Titus laugh.
Oh, man.
Titus.
Shit.
I prefer
right.
Titus.
Next time I'm gonna set you up. Because you did it for the bit rather than to get the points. All right. Yeah. All right. I got you next time.
Okay, so you both got 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now for 2 characters, I did Johnny and Marlene.
Johnny and Marlene.
It's Final Fantasy 7, isn't it?
7.
Yeah, Johnny is the one who's in love with Tifa, and Marlene is his
Barrett's kid.
Okay.
You guys got it. So you're at 5. And then for the name from the game, 5, V.
So that's 15 and 7. 15?
No.
16.
No.
Oh.
I picked 14.
Oh yeah.
That
was really good.
There's an XIV.
All 3 of them.
Bastard.
Oh man, that's really good.
Yeah.
All right. Which one did I leave out?
Which one did you leave out?
So you did 14. You did 7.
Mm-hmm.
You did 10. You left out 16.
I mean, I feel like that's really unfair because, like,
there's still 2.
Right, but it's like he gets one, I guess the other. One of us is bound to be right.
Yeah,
but your points are separate. They accumulate separately. So.
Oh, okay. So then you said 16. I'll say 15.
He was right. I left out 15.
Yeah, we both left out 15.
All right. So Shy, you actually got full 7. Troy, you got 6. Good job, both of you.
Perfect. All right. Well, there's another game of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I like that game, man.
Yeah,
it's
there's
fun.
a lot of fun things.
Mm-hmm. But with that, we're going to move into our impressions.
I'm so excited about this.
Yes. So did you, with the impressions we're going to be talking about, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth and the Xbox Developer Direct. We'll start with the Direct. Did you end up watching that by chance?
No. So
okay.
I'm all like just consuming this.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we watched it and I just rewatched it this morning just to refresh. So I guess I'll start off with, because I'm so excited for Ninja Gaiden 4. So actually here, I'll go through everything that they went through. They did Ninja Gaiden 4. They did South of Midnight. They did Expedition 33 and Doom the Dark Ages. Those were the games that they talked about. And I believe Ninja Gaiden was their secret game. Boy.
Yeah.
How many times? So I'm not like I wouldn't say that I'm an Xbox fan, right? But how many times are they going to shadow drop something near my birthday to convince me? Because shadow dropping the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black remake, like they just keep making January good for me. So like, you got me now, all right?
I think
you don't got to do no more.
I think Xbox loves doing that. After they did it with Hi-Fi Rush,
Yeah.
the massive like applause they got from it. I mean, it's such an easy win.
Yeah, it's just gonna be fucking badass action game January from now on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So yeah, thank you Xbox. I love you. Make it free on Game Pass too. I love you.
Yeah, that was
not
so
free,
awesome.
Day one. But yeah, how do you what do you think about Ninja Gaiden 4 and what they showed?
So I'm extremely excited for Ninja Gaiden 4. I became a Ninja Gaiden fan after recently playing Ninja Gaiden 2, the original. So now replaying Black, I'm like, oh god, I should have just waited because it looks so much better.
Yeah.
I actually tried to play 3 this last week. That game sucks. I'm just gonna be real. I don't know what happened, but it is not nearly as good as 2. But when I look at 4, I'm kind of given a lot of hope because it looks like much more of a return to form. But it also looks like an evolutionary step.
Yeah,
I love this new character, but I also love that they're still keeping Ryu. I can't stand it when games try to get rid of like the franchise's leading character.
Yes,
I'll never like that. That's just.
I'm looking at you, Metal Gear 2.
Yeah,
bro.
I do think one thing that I'm actually like very excited about is like I think action games are better when there are different kinds of action games. And I think that, you know, it's kind of like they kind of like action games would either go like the platinum route or they would kind of go the more like Arkham / God of War / kind of route. And it's like it's the more competition there is, the better these games are going to get. And so I'm really excited that it's like, hey, we're kind of bringing different things back, different styles back, different kind of games back, because I think that'll just make everything better.
Yeah. I'm also a huge character action fan. So like seeing this type of game come back instead of Souls-likes, because that's kind of been, I'm a huge FromSoft fan. That's not a secret to anybody. But while I love them, I feel like I've been monkey pawed, because their success has led to everyone adding a stamina bar to their freaking video game. And I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of combos just being light or heavy. And I'm like, dude, where's some directional inputs? Where's some, you know, where's that fighting game essence of like actually requiring me to execute stuff, to be aware, but also to make combat more like a puzzle, in the sense that, not in the sense that like the puzzle needs to be solved to win. The puzzle needs to be solved to have fun. Like the difference between like a Souls game and a character action game is that the goal in a Souls game is to win, whereas the goal in an action game is to win with style. And I think that like when I play Ninja Gaiden, I could just sit there and do ultimate attacks and shoot bows at people until Essence comes up and then do super attacks. You can win in a very cheesy way, but that's not fun. What's fun is doing a 6-button input combo to Izuna drop them, blow their head up, and then jump on their friend, throw shurikens in the air, and then swallow dive on them. And then do the ultimate attack, and then you're just like, I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. And you just don't really get that expression with a lot of the Souls-like inspired action games we've been getting the last like decade. So Ninja Gaiden 4 having both Platinum and Team Ninja working together on it, and just seeing how much creativity and expression that the characters were showing with the gameplay, I was just like, oh, we're so back.
Talk more about the what you mean by the what is it, like the evolution of gameplay, but also keeping the root. The new character having his own unique blood sword technique that we've never seen Ryu use before is very cool. I don't know if they're going to do kind of like how Devil May Cry did, where Dante had all these different weapons and weapon stances and stuff, but then you play Nero and it was just about having arms and having his primary weapon.
I would like to double check, but I think in developer interviews they talked about that the new character who's from the Raven clan, Yunuba, something like that. It's YUK something. It's either Yukio or Yuko, or
we'll call him Raven for now.
Yeah, we'll call him Raven for right now. But Raven seems to like not have multiple weapons. Okay. It seems like his weapon morphs,
which is cool. Which is cool, and I like that. I think it's cool to introduce a unique mechanic that will be specifically for 4, but will also be for the new character. It's always fun when you have somebody who's like fresh. Like you can see their struggle, see them get better and better, but then you keep the iconic character in there, and it almost elevates their like god status, because you start to see the difference between them and the new character that they're introducing, and it allows people to jump into Ninja Gaiden, which has been dormant for quite some time, play it, fall in love with this new character, but also respect and love Ryu Hayabusa because of like, you know, how strong he is.
Yeah, they showed him too, and he's going to have multiple weapons. Naturally. So it's like it is another Nero Dante situation where it's like Dante has the kitchen sink for his arsenal, but then Nero's like the Red Queen and all that is like way fun. So
it looks like they're bringing back cinematic executions. I really like the new, like, I don't know if Ryu's also going to be doing it. I'll have to rewatch the video, but Raven doing those moves where he cuts them and it turns the screen red, like the what are those?
They're like the Persona 5 all-out attacks.
What are those old like kung fu movies where they used to do that? They represented it in
like Kurosawa movies?
Yeah, like Kurosawa movies. I think
those are black and white though.
Yeah, they represented it in Sifu, but like the just red with like a silhouettes and like blood splatter all over the place. That's gonna be a cool thing for them to add. So I'm expecting the game to be extremely stylish. I am a little bit worried about the setting. Okay. It seems like you're just in a how do I say this? You're in a
Well, you're in Tokyo.
You're in Tokyo, but you're in a indiscernible futuristic cityscape. Mm-hmm. I couldn't recognize anything that was really memorable about the levels that they were on. Yeah, there was like some cool platforming, but if everything that I'm doing is just skyscraper mechanical buildings as far as the eye can see, I'm not going to really feel that attached.
We do know that there's already mountain and like forest regions because that's when they showed the Ryu section. He was playing in like a bamboo forest looking area. So
I'm just hoping I don't get Devil May Cry 5 again, where it's just Devil's Butthole for like
half the, yeah. You only get like 5 levels that are like good environments, and then it's just the Devil's Butthole for like 9 missions.
Yeah. So
yeah. No, I feel like I have that worry, but I also I don't really think about that worry because I was just too excited about Ninja Gaiden 4 coming back.
So, from what you've played in Ninja Gaiden 2 and what you've played in Ninja Gaiden 3, what is like one specific thing that you want to see in the game?
I just need them to have good... I would like to see them advance combat in the sense that like sometimes especially in 3, the little bit I played of it felt really stiff. Stiff and slippery. As weird as that sounds, I know they're contrasting descriptions, but like when I was comboing and attacking, it felt stiff. But when I was dodging and stuff, I felt very floaty. When I was playing 3, and 2 didn't feel like that, but 2 also does have the point where like sometimes if the camera's not in the right spot, combat just like falls apart, and you have to reorient yourself before you can get your momentum back up. So I'd like them to find ways to correct that because I don't like losing momentum in Ninja Gaiden. And so keep the combo system of like 2, but I guess like evolve it to where it's a little bit more flowy.
Okay.
That's at least for me. What about you?
I would say specifically I'd like brand new weapons for Ryu. I know that they're going to bring back fan favorites. I would love to see completely new weapons that we've never seen before. That's probably the most like want that I have, because it was very cool in Ninja Gaiden 2 to come across the staff for the first time, the claws for the first time. I just remember each of those weapons seeing for the first time and being like, yo, I can't believe I fucking got this. Like, this is crazy. And so all I really like to make sure is that he gets brand new weapons that we've never seen, so that he has like an even more expanded arsenal.
Say, are you a Ninja Gaiden fan, Shai?
Yeah. Like probably not as heavy as other people, so I don't have as much stake in the game. But I kind of got into it like kind of backwards because I played Dead or Alive, and they're like, oh yeah, he's got his game series, and I was like, oh, what's that about?
Yeah.
So I think that I'm actually excited because there's been a lot of lessons learned and a lot of like innovations made when it comes to like action game combat, and I'm curious to see how they're going to implement those lessons into a newer game, especially with consoles and PCs having like more processing power and different things like that, where I'm like, okay, so like what are we going to keep, how are we going to innovate on this? So I'm really excited to see how they're going to do that.
I agree. I also started off as a Dead or Alive fan before I played Ninja Gaiden, so like I've only known Ryu with his mask off and his long red hair. But so I got so excited when I saw the water, because I know the Team Ninja logo. Like I know that shit, dude. I love that shit. So as soon as I saw the waves and heard the thunder, I was like, is this a new Dead or Alive? Not Dead or Alive. This is Ninja Gaiden, but I still like I got so pumped.
I do have a funny, if I may, real quick, Dead or Alive story. So it was one of the times we were playing like a random Coliseum at like Hades' house, and I went up against you in bracket, and we got Dead or Alive, and I was like, yeah, I used to play this game, whatever. And it was one of the few times I felt pride like fighting you, because there was a moment where we were playing and you were doing a combo and I got a reversal and I saw you just kind of like shift up a little bit, and I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah, we're scrapping now. Because like, it's one of those things where it's like, again, you maybe when people are like, yeah, I play this game, you never really know like where they're at. But just to get that out of you a little bit where you're like, oh. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm here.
Because nobody plays me in Dead. Like, you're the only person that plays me in Dead or Alive and Dissidia. Yeah. And those are like, I used to live off those games. Yeah. So whenever I can't wait till we throw down in Power Stone. I literally cannot wait.
Yeah, no, I'm ready.
I am excited to play Power Stone.
Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to break the flow.
No, that's great. It's Team Ninja related.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But in all honesty, I don't really have too much more to say on Ninja Gaiden 4. Yeah. I think it's I'm just extremely excited. And it's coming out this year. So
wow.
Just play and buy Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Just do it so that they know that we are here for it. And then buy Ninja Gaiden 4 when it comes out.
Yeah.
I would love for Team Ninja to come back, and then maybe, just maybe, we'll get Dead or Alive. Just maybe.
Just maybe.
I would love that.
Dude, I want Dead or Alive. I love Dead or Alive. Nobody has better stage transitions.
I'm thinking and I'm going on record to say this, that if Virtua Fighter continues to do well, there is room for more of the scrapper fighting games to come back. Yeah. Because it's like, Dead or Alive, there is a little bit of like that flair to it, but it's still very like, we're gonna fight, this is hands and feet, it has the grab button and all that other stuff, and that's still its system. So it's like, I think that if that game is, again, on record, it's like there's space for these games. Yeah. So I'm with you, whereas like, buy those games, let's boost them up, please.
Yeah. Well, the next game that they showed off at the Developer Direct was South of Midnight.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited for this game, although it's not like super high excitement. Yeah. But I think it looks good. I think the only thing that I'm worried about is that I really like the style they're going for, but I'm worried the frame rate being so different with the characters and the game world. I think that's gonna maybe hurt my eyes and give me a headache, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I have a feeling. What is the frame rate they're at? 24? Or?
Yeah, it's using a 24 frame rate for the animations to give the stop motion feel.
Yes. So I'm excited for the game. For like you are, the lore.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we're going to be getting sort of a southern.
I do know this game.
Yeah. Okay, you got like the southern sort of vibe. It's just something that doesn't get represented all the time. And whenever it comes around, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but there's just something about it that's like, it's literally cozy. There's some.
I just like the like you were saying, the difference of it being like an American myth. Yeah. I really like I've lived in the South a lot and grew up there in summers. So like having seen catfish as like creatures and stuff, I'm just like, I caught catfish as a kid. This is so sick. Yeah. I'm hoping to see like crawdads, frogs, and like all the shit I saw in like Tennessee and North Carolina. So I really hope that they nail that aspect of it. I also think the gameplay looks fun. Looks like a good fun adventure game. Doesn't seem like a crazy action game.
I want to say one of the things of the gameplay that surprised me was the amount of platforming. It looks like it's going to have like a Jedi Survivor level of platforming. So there's wall running. She has this the ability to thread things, like that's her like powers threading. So she was running. There's a platform, it doesn't exist. She threads it into existence, jumps on it, jumps off, threads the next one. She has a glider and everything. So I'm excited for the amount of what is the word, like traversal, the amount of traversal that the game will have. I'm literally only worried about one thing, and that is it looks like whenever you fight, you're always in a circular arena for most of my like small fights. So I wonder if similar to like Hi-Fi Rush and what was that PlayStation game we talked about? The one that was the little girl with the little black wisps. Kena. So like similar to those two games, the platforming and the action were completely separated, very separated. And after recently playing Ninja Gaiden, I like it when you come up to a hallway, there's a pit, there's a fucking like a thing for you to jump on and spin and jump, and then the enemies are fighting you too. And so you have almost a little playground to play in when fighting enemies. I don't really like it when it's just a flat ground for you to do combos.
I was gonna say that's one of the. I think that's what separates Ninja Gaiden too, is that like there's actually unique ass moves you can only use off of wall running and stuff. So they want you to use the environment.
Yeah. I always like it when combat happens anywhere in the game instead of just specified sections. So again, small worry. Don't think that that's going to like deter me from the game in any way. I'm excited for it. I think that it's going to be a vibe. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. So I'm excited for it. I don't have too many thoughts just because it's like I'm excited for it. I think that they haven't shown anything like super wowing that's like, oh man, now you have to play this. But I think that they've done a good enough job at roping me in with the charm of the lore that I'm like, I don't mind that the platforming looks good, and I think the combat looks all right.
I will say this, even if I don't play that game a lot, I am going to listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That has got me. Yeah, for sure. So,
yeah. But next up is actually a game I'm extremely excited for. Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Yeah.
This is a turn-based RPG from a French studio. Their first game. But it has an all-star cast for the characters. Andy Serkis.
Okay.
You got Gollum in here.
Oh, wow.
We also have is it Charlie Cox is the name of the actor who plays Daredevil?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the main character.
Wait, I thought
Ben Starr is another character that looks similar to him who's also on your party. They're both like similar looking characters, but they're both in the game.
What?
Yeah. And then Jennifer English, who was Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate, Latenna, and Elden Ring.
I wonder what
she'll be here as well.
Attracted all of them to this project.
Yeah, I'm actually curious I know why Ben Starr was attracted to it. He loves the type of game it is. He's a big fan of classic Final Fantasy. So like for him, turn-based RPG with a mature story and a world map, he's all in on that. Don't know what it is for everybody else. Might just be like they gave the right like pitch to the right agencies that a lot of these guys are from. So I don't know. I really don't know what drew them all in, but maybe they really like the script. Yeah,
I'm definitely excited for the game. The combat, most of all. I like any turn-based game that's going to be part turn-based, part action. I do really like how they go about their real-time button presses in there. So they have like a little square on that, or a diamond. We'll go with a diamond. One of those sides will be gold, and essentially you got like a timer that runs through, and when it's anywhere within that side, you just press a button. So it's not too distracting, it's pretty poignant. So you can kind of still watch the combat while doing it. Sometimes when I play these action turn-based game, it'll be like a circle or something that you have to focus on, and that can be distracting from actually playing the game. So you have two separate things you're looking at. So I like the UI. I like the clarity. I like the camera work. Like, God, the camera work looks awesome. So
yeah. I like how almost Mario and Luigi, like you get to be way more active on defense because they have they had prompts, at least that I saw, that showed jumping and parrying. So like the character jumped over like a sweeping move, and I was like, what? I thought it would just be like block or parry. And so seeing that there's multiple actions while you're waiting for your turn, because it uses an ATB system as well. So it's like you don't have all the time in the world to make a decision.
Yeah. You
have to be quick with it while also like being on the offensive.
Am I gonna have to buy an Xbox?
It's gonna be on PlayStation.
Okay, good. Yeah. I was like, geez, man. Like as we're talking about all these things, I'm like, dang, I might have to buy an Xbox again.
No. Xbox is releasing all their games on PlayStation now.
That's right.
Yeah, because it's an Xbox.
Yeah,
PlayStation.
Your PlayStation is an Xbox.
This is an Xbox. You're an Xbox. We're all Xbox.
We're all Xboxes here.
This broken phone is an Xbox. I think it's incredible though that Xbox is like, as soon as they ditched console exclusivity, they're just dropping bangers everywhere. I'm like, all right, okay. Like, thanks. I look forward now to like Xbox showcases as my PC showcase. It's great. But yeah, just to give a rundown on what the developer direct, because we knew about this game, and it wasn't as I guess teaser-ish as like South of Midnight. Like South of Midnight, we got a big gameplay. Like everything we talked about was brand new. This one was like more of a like, hey, we're showing you. We're still working on it. It's still good. The main thing that they wanted to show was the world map which looks really cool, really big. And then they also wanted to show like a new race of characters that are more of the comic relief characters.
Yep.
And I think that they're a very interesting design. They're very toy-like. They're like dolls that are made, but like wooden dolls.
Yeah, it definitely has a unique art style. I really like what the art director was going for. I'm interested to see the different areas that we end up going to. Almost everything feels, though, like they're underwater in some way. Do you get that feeling? Almost like you're looking at coral reefs and stuff. I've been feeling that way. He chooses, like he said in his thing, he chooses a lot of red and a lot of white, and so when I'm paying attention to everything, it almost feels like, I know they're not underwater, but it gives me the vibe of when I look at a coral reef. This is the tone, the colors, like the shapes and everything I get when I'm looking at this game.
I think that's a really interesting way to look at it because I didn't think that.
Yeah,
but now that you've said it, I'm like, he might be onto something.
Yeah. So
he might be right on.
let's keep that in mind.
But yeah, definitely super looking forward to it.
When is it releasing? They gave us a release date.
Yeah, they did. April 24th.
Yep. And then South of Midnight, did they give us a release date?
That one's like April. It's April as well. It's April 8th.
Damn, April.
Wow.
Okay, shit.
Yeah, April is both the games. The beginning of April is South of Midnight. End of April is Clair Obscure.
Damn, that's gonna be a good month.
Yeah.
They made sure to get way away from Monster.
Well, you want to know what's crazy too is like the Switch 2 announcement. The direct is like April 2nd.
Yeah.
And then like 6 days later you get South of Midnight, and then at the end of April's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody cleared out for Monster Hunter. They know what time it is. They're like, all right.
Even Assassin's Creed Shadows, they were like, we're going to March.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a month.
Yeah. Get out the way.
Get out of the way. But yeah, then the last game that the developer direct showed was Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Medieval Doom.
That sounds fun. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
That sounds very fun.
I was going to say, I've never really played Doom,
Yeah.
to be completely honest. And this one actually does excite me.
Yeah.
Because
So you didn't play 2016 Doom?
No.
Okay. So I played about, I want to say like 6 hours of it. It was very fun. It is straight up an action game and a first person shooter at the same time. They're like you were talking about before. You can successfully get through a situation by doing the simple thing, but the fun is doing it with style. It is such a fun game, from just jumping down on people, executing them, dashing all over the place. Now, I understand that in the direct, they did say that this will be a more grounded Doom. So you'll be blocking with your new shield mechanic, blocking, parrying, throwing the shield, all of that. And so they called it more like you used to control him like a jet. Now he's a tank, but fast is still being considered. So I wonder if there's going to be a lot of like sliding across the ground, a la like think Armored Core. I feel like we're going to feel like Armored Core units.
Yeah.
I was going to say, the Dark Ages, like from the gameplay I watched, like there was a lot of dashing with the shield, like just like completely covering the gap. Made me feel like Captain America in Marvel Rivals. Press that F key and I'm just... And so I saw that a lot. So that's why I was like, why did they use tank as a description? You and I were talking about that this morning before the episode. I was just like, tank and speed don't go in the same sentence together.
There probably just won't be a lot of aerial movement, a bunch of grounded movement, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's fine though, because as long as I can dash around and be quick, then you still keep the feel of Doom, I feel.
Cool.
But yeah, it looks nutty. I don't really have too many things other than it looks cool and it's coming out in May.
Yeah. Overall, once again, I think that they've been killing it with these Xbox developer directs. We only get one a year, right? Or
no, we've been getting a few. They usually do 2.
2 a year.
I think we'll get one in June or July.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the 2 January ones have been very memorable. I do like the way that they do it. I like that each section is they focus very deeply on like 4 or 5 games. We get to dive in, see what a little bit of what the studio is like, get that feel. It's almost like each of these are 4 separate small developer directs that get put together for a showcase. And overall, I really like how they do it. I like the editing. I like the like almost like whiteboard, like you're in an office concept type things. I
really like that it's first party focused.
Yeah.
One of the things I don't like about like watching a Sony showcase or watching a Nintendo Direct, even though I like watching those.
Yeah.
This isn't like hatred on them, but the lull parts always are when you're getting the third-party commercial.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, dude, come on. I don't care about Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I know that game sells a bunch. I don't care. Show me Mario. Like, and, you know, same thing with Sony. Like, you'll be like, here's another Call of Duty trailer. I'm like, that's Xbox's game. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I really appreciate the way that they do it. I actually think it's probably my favorite of the directs.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It is. It sucks that they don't have a console that is like killing it right now because they're doing everything else right with with showcasing their game. So either way, keep it up. Great directs. With that, we are going to move into our impressions on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on the PC. So I thought, right, that I was going to get this and turn it on. It was going to be perfection. Now it has been great, but it hasn't been perfect. How's it been for you?
It's been a little bit better than what I've seen from like reports from Digital Foundry.
Yeah,
my experience hasn't been the same as theirs. But mine more aligns with like Maximilian Dudes. It's bad when I first boot it up.
Yeah, and
when I first get to a new area. After that, it's the Unreal Engine stutter struggle. But I don't think it's as severe. I get like maybe 3 to 5 stutters first like 15 minutes of the game, and then I'm fine until like I load into a brand new area that I've never been in, and then it's only like 3 to 5 stutters, then it's fine.
Yeah.
My frame rate's been pretty good, but it's had some random drops out of nowhere, but nothing below like 70.
Yeah.
What about you?
It has been so. For a while, I thought the game was fucked up, right? But I had downloaded a stutter mod to like help with the stutter, and I did all the adjustments properly. But the issue was there was one thing in the code where I did not change like the resolution settings, and it had been fucking my game up. So I deleted the mod completely, and I've had a much more a much more stable experience akin to what you were saying, where it was go into a new zone, have some stutters as it loads everything, but afterwards it's pretty smooth. I do feel like combat is not sticking the 120 FPS personally.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a card thing. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's a processor thing, but I can tell that it is in the 80s and the 90s. I got to check it out with like actually put the FPS counter on there, but it is not sticking at the 120 FPS that I thought it would.
Mine's usually 97 to 108 in combat.
Yeah.
But in the environment, it ranges from 104 to 122 is where I get my readings when I'm checking.
But aside from the performance, the boost that I did get from the PlayStation and like the sense of clarity from like the image quality, the game is just...
It's gorgeous.
It's a gorgeous game. It's a fun game. I think that it's a much better improvement since Remake. Aerial combat is way better, and I actually look forward to doing air combos. How much of it have you played? How much of Remake did you play?
I played all of Remake. I haven't gotten to Rebirth yet.
Okay, that's fine. Then I'm not going to get into spoilers at all. But one thing I will say is, so with aerial combat getting done a lot better, there's one thing that they introduced, and I don't think it was in 7 Remake. And did they have folios in Remake?
They had folios, but you didn't have synergy abilities. Like you didn't have R1.
Did they have the ability to use magic without consuming MP? Did they have that skill?
Oh, I don't know, actually.
Okay, so
I can't remember.
I don't think they had it. So there's a skill that they introduced called, of all the elements, fire, thunder, ice, and air, you can unlock a skill that allows you to use the magic without utilizing MP.
That's nuts.
It's nuts. But the thing about it is they're not actually just the spell. They're unique techniques.
Oh.
One of those techniques with the wind technique is a straight up a Virgil pull, or like Final Fantasy 16 where you pull them to you with Garuda. It's exactly that. So now you can do straight up combos with Cloud, knock them to the ground, pull them back to you, do a combo, send them flying, pull them back again. Like it gets turned into a Devil May Cry game. The only issue is that a lot of the enemies, they can't be moved until you stagger them. But it's just, as soon as I found out that some of these moves add on like typical action game mechanics, I was like blown away.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think the combat's been kicking for me a lot better, but it's also because, again, the resolution clarity and stuff that you were talking about, that's helped me so much in enjoying this game, which sounds shallow, I know.
I mean, you can see what's going on.
I can see what's going on a lot better, and it just doesn't give me a headache. So I've been really in love with it. I do think, though, it is hard to recommend on PC to people because from what I understand with the issues, it seems to hurt people on lower end cards more.
Yeah.
I am fortunate to have a card that just brute forces past a lot of the issues.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a card that's strong, then I highly recommend playing this game. It's an absolute gem. But if you don't, and your PC maybe not be able to run it like that, just get it on PS5. It's been out for a year. It's good. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say, especially if we're not going into spoilers. I haven't beaten the game. I'm a little over halfway. I'm on chapter 8 of 15. Yeah. So
overall, it's a good time.
Yeah. But with that, we're going to take a little break. And then we're going to come back with one of your language-defining games.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
And welcome back from the break. We're about to get into my favorite part of the episode. So whenever we have a guest or, it's just us, we like to bring on a game that we like to call a language-defining game. It doesn't have to be your favorite game. It doesn't have to be your least favorite game. It's just a game that meant a lot to you that you really want to talk about. And what game are you bringing for us today?
So, funny enough, this is actually my favorite game of all time.
Yes.
Today, we're going to be talking about Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
And I remember, again, thank you for letting me be here, because I think you had mentioned it on the cast, and then I talked to Troy, and I was like, just day one of me asking you guys to talk about Shadow of the Colossus, like, why don't you just come talk about it? And I said, well, I'll come do that. So, Shadow of the Colossus is my favorite game of all time.
Yeah,
it means a lot to me in terms of like what it is, how you go through it.
Can you tell me, like, give me the breakdown of when you first played it? Like,
so when I first played it, I was actually an adult, so I didn't get to it as a kid, but I got to it as an adult, and I think what made that so impactful is because of the way that the game is, it meets you wherever you are. So I was actually in a very like tough spot in my life, and then having this guy go on this quest and fight giant monsters kind of made me feel like empowered. Like, no matter how big or how complex the situation might be, I'm actually able to get through it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it started being my favorite game in that. So I'm seeing the game questions, and I'll go ahead and
no, don't worry about that. I got you.
Okay,
You're just here to gush. I'll ask you questions.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, and so that's kind of where it was, and that's where I started like feeling it for real, where I was like, oh my gosh, like, this to do so much with so little, and also kind of became so important to me in the way that I like receive games and stuff like that. It like changed my life in so many different ways, not only in a personal sense, but like I said, in the way that I receive games, where it's like we don't always need more. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. I think that I still struggle with the dollar per minute type of mindset, where it's like when I buy a game, I need to have a certain amount of content, good or bad, to justify my purchase. And sometimes you can give me a game that's literally perfect, but if it's like 5 hours, I might still not enjoy it, even though there's plenty of replayability there. I suffer from still playing a game once, that's it. I need to get my money's worth, or else I didn't have a great time. Shadow of the Colossus is not one of those games. I've played that game tons of times.
Oh yeah, I was replaying it before doing this cast. Like,
that game is a game that where simplicity, like the beauty is in the simplicity, 1000%. And yeah, so first thing I want to ask about is we have 5 questions that we like to go over when we talk about these games. First is the story. Now, when I played the game when I was younger, I didn't actually like grasp the story the first time. It wasn't until I played it, let's say because I played it first on PS2.
Yeah.
Not right when it came out, but I went. I remember I was at GameStop or something. Or it might have been Game Crazy, but I just saw the case, thought it was striking, played it, and just played it for the fact that it was the puzzle of defeating the shadows or the Colossus. Mm-hmm. After finishing the game and being hit with that ending, I went back and replayed it and then understood it a little bit more. Yeah. So, what did the story strike you at first? Did it not? Like, how did you digest the story?
It did, again, with how simple the premise is.
Yeah.
I think it made it very easy to kind of get into, of just like, hey, this is somebody I care about. Mm-hmm. That relationship is never like clearly defined, but is this somebody that I care about? I no longer want them to be dead. Yeah. So I'm going to interact with forces that I don't really know anything about, and then hopefully to bring this person back, no matter what the cost is, because that's really kind of, I feel like, what a lot of the game is saying is like, but at what cost? Yeah. What lengths is Wander willing to go? Yeah. Main character's name is Wander, by the way. What lengths is Wander willing to go, and what are you willing to sacrifice for this? Yeah. And so I really did appreciate that. And one thing that I did like is that when Dorman talks, amazing. Yeah, I love that preverb and reverb, how it's both a masculine and feminine voice talking at the same time, sometimes coming in and fading out differently. I love that. I love that the language that Dorman uses to explain, it's not like, okay, I'll bring her back to life. It's something akin to like, I'm gonna guide her soul back to her body. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And even just kind of saying like, oh, there's a lot going on here. And I can understand, like, in Wander being interesting, of just being like, oh, I just don't care. Like, fine.
I don't care. Whatever you say.
Yeah, whatever you say, I got it. Like, we're going to go do it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I have to ask, when you guys played the game, would you always check on her? Because I would check on her all the time.
All the time.
I just have to take a second to make sure she's doing okay.
The way that it would zoom in on her is actually the main reason that I was able to notice that Wander was getting sicker.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have noticed if I didn't like go to her, and then I would always just like, pan and be like, I gotta save her. And then I'd look at my guy and I'm like, oh.
Oh, shit. I will say, as much as I do enjoy the remake, that is one thing that I wish they did better, was making him look more fucked up. Because I played, when I first played the game, I played the PS3 port of the game.
The same. They did it too.
Yeah, where it was just like, he's like really fucked up. And so this one being a little bit more modern, I was like, I wish that, like, because even in the older versions of the game, it even like sometimes looked like his skin is peeling.
Oh, really?
Of just like, oh, you are. But again, we learned that he is just becoming the vessel for Dorman, and that like all of Dorman's power is actually getting put into him. And then one thing I find very interesting is, like, of course you go through, you defeat the 16 Colossi, all that other stuff. When you get to the end, you just get imbued with all of that power, all of that dark power, and it gives you the option to fight the soldiers that are there, because people are coming to stop you. Because it's like, you can't,
because you're not doing a good thing.
Dorman's in the Forbidden Lands for a reason. Their power was split for a reason. And so the game gives you the option to fight. And it's very interesting to say that up to that point, we are conditioned through that game that the way to solve all of our problems is through fighting. You don't have to. You can just sit there and let them walk. And I always found that, like, interesting. Like, you get the option, because you're not going to stop them.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Sorry, everybody. You're not going to stop them. But I think it's very interesting that it's like, you don't have to fight these guys.
Damn, I fought them every time, so I did not know.
Yeah. They will, like, they'll still shoot arrows at you, but if you don't do anything, they will just walk off. And they will put the sword in the well, and they will just go. And that'll be it.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah. No, that game is so special. I'm so glad you brought it.
Me too. I'm like vibrating with excitement.
So the thing that I think captured everybody's attention at first was the visual. I want to say, how was that for you? Like,
I loved the visual. I loved the style. I love that, like, a lot of these colossi look like rock monsters with like moss and different things like that. It very much gives them that like sort of otherworldly feel that they have, that it's like, okay, these aren't just, you know, organic creatures. It's like these are sort of have been created out of the environment around them. It kind of feels that way, where it's like, you know, yeah, there are some monsters that are a little bit more organic, but even when you fight some of them, like the more humanoid ones, when you look at their skin, it doesn't look like the skin of an organic being most of the time. It looks like rock and other materials like that. And I was like, oh, this is so good. Yeah. And so I do really appreciate that there are different like biomes in the game as well.
Yeah.
You know, there are places that are all sand. There are a couple of fights that are in the sand, like, you know, Phalanx and Dirge, which are the two sand ones, one being in the sky, the other one being in the ground, like, you know, and all that other stuff. So I really do like its art style. It feels like this game was meticulously crafted.
It's crazy for how like empty the world is.
Yeah.
That the world comes across so beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah. You walked the whole game.
I've walked the whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that game.
And it's so interesting because it's like, one thing that's also very interesting about that is also kind of like, when you're not fighting anything, one, I think it's a beautiful choice that when you are going from Colossi to Colossi, you're not fighting anything, because the game's not built for that.
Yeah.
And so it's really just you, or like Wander with his thoughts, because like, what do you even think to yourself when you're going through something like that, and you're just like, dang, like I'm really doing this. So I found that to be amazing as well. And the, you know, and you can go around and find all the fruit trees and the geckos and all that other stuff. And, yeah.
Did you hunt for the coins in the remake?
I did. Some I found on accident. Other ones I'm like, let me go back to where this Colossi comes out of. And then I was like, oh, there's a coin in here. Like, you know.
Getting all of them was a real treat.
Yeah, I haven't done that quite yet because I get so like lost in the sauce when I'm playing that game that I never really think about like, oh yeah, that's right, there are collectibles now. Did you ever come across that in the cave there's kind of a send up to
the Last Guardian?
Yeah.
I liked that.
It was the little barrel with the butterfly around. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know. And even down to like noticing certain things of like, I've been taking note of how many creatures are around and like the potential ecosystem where it's like you have butterflies, you have geckos, there are also spiders because there are spider webs, and there's a falcon. And I was like, all right, yeah, we got a nice little system going on here.
I think it's one of those weird games. They also have turtles, which are fun because you can trip over them and have a unique animation, and also fish. I think it's just cool because the game doesn't ever tell you that there's unique mechanics, but you can like actually glide on a hawk, and you can also like grab a fish and have it like swim you around.
Oh wow!
It's just like you never use it for anything but for fun, and it's just like, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
So another question with visual: which of the Colossi were your favorite by design?
By design, okay, so Bird. Avion.
You asked me a question. I'm gonna talk about that guy because that's like one of my favorite bosses in all video games.
Yes, Avion's really good. I love Avion. I love how long that tail is.
Yeah.
I love how big it is. I love that when it comes to swoop you down, it creates the wave.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate that. Some of them don't make sense. So like, there's the one. I think it's Pelagia. Anyway, but it's when you're on the lake and you have to get on top of it and basically like hit the little stones to guide it around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this thing?
Yep.
Like,
that one's a confusing
you know, I was like, well, first of all, like that fight's confusing, but I was just like, I remember looking at it. I'm like, what is this? I also really do like the one in the water.
Yeah.
I like that one as well. I like them.
That one scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, the snake. Yeah.
That one scared the shit out of me.
That one it feels like a horror movie because like you see it and you just have to sit there and wait for it to get to you, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah. As I had a lot of nightmares when I played. I don't remember what year it came out on PS2.
I think it was 2001, 2002.
It's 2005. Or maybe 6, something like that.
Okay. I don't think I had finished high school, but I was young enough where it was still scary to play the game.
Yeah.
But
Oh, and one last one. Speaking of scaries, when you fight the one in the sandworm dirge, and you have to like ride the horse and turn around, and it's got its big old eyes that you have to heat. And the music for that is just. I know we'll get to audio, and it's the next one.
Hey,
also, 2005. You were right.
Okay.
So if you want to segue into music, let's go.
The OST when you fight Colossus does a really good job at making you feel small.
Dude.
It conveys it of just like you are tiny, these things are massive, and you have to kind of figure it out. And it's one of those things where you enjoy it more because it only happens when you're fighting. That's not the only time music plays, but it's like that's most of the time you're going to be hearing the music is when you're fighting Colossi. And I think that makes the soundtrack stick out even more because you have these big bombastic moments of you figuring things out and trying to get it and all this other stuff. And then like there are times where it's like the music's kind of slow and ambient, but once you grab it, it like ramps up and it's like, oh my gosh, like it's time to go.
I want to talk about that. That's why the what is his name? Is it Falcon? What the Avion. So I didn't know any of the names of the guys. I'm a big nerd. I just killed them. But Avion has been one of my favorite bosses of all time because when I first fought him as a kid, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. He just kept swooping down and causing me issues. And so when I finally thought, you know what, fuck, like I'm going to be brave. I'm going to face him. And I see that there's fur on his shoulders. I'm going to jump on and I'm going to grab it. Yeah. And then when you jump on and grab it and the music is playing, dude, like I still can remember the first time I did it. And like you've got like the wind is rushing by, the music is playing, and you're like on his shoulders. You got to climb up to go and find the spot. That is one of the most satisfying moments I've ever had in video game history. So,
it is so like again, just the way that it happens, it's just so good. It always sticks out. Usually, I find that people like one of the two flying ones, because Phalanx is also a good fight, but it's like it takes a little bit more mechanically. You got to shoot the eggs, you got to lower, you got to ride the, you got to ride your horse, and then you got to jump, which is still cool. Yeah, so like definitely.
What about you, Jason? Were there any specific tracks?
The opening cinematic track is like tear-inducing. Yeah. It's like it's so emotional and beautiful. I sometimes just turn it on. Like I always have that game installed on my PS5 just to turn on. Sometimes just to watch the intro because I'm just like need a little. I need to moisturize my tear ducts. Yeah. Just because, and it's not because it's like sad. It's just it's so beautiful. Like it like hits you on an emotional level that's not sadness. It's weird. But I also really love how dynamic the fights are. Yeah. Like you were saying, you feel small. That like it's way more like it almost feels like you're being stalked by a prey when you first, and then when combat initiates or like you jump on the wing, that's when it's like, okay, you're in battle. Yeah. But then also when you certain monsters, if they have multi-stages and you get to the weakness, it becomes heroic. So and it's so good.
So speaking on combat, I did want to jump into the gameplay. So this is a first and pretty much only time I've played a game that's specifically like this, where it's just I have a sword, but I'm not swinging my sword. It's specifically for climbing onto a specific spot and stabbing it. Yeah. Such a unique experience. I'd never played anything like it before. I actually found it when I first played the game, I was annoyed that I didn't have smaller creatures to fight until I really realized the beauty of the game. How was that for you guys in first experiencing it?
It was a little bit rough to get used to because I think it also kind of goes where like Team Ico, they do a really good job at designing things specifically to convey a certain feeling, and Wander just feels like a regular person where it's like he's not this super honed, super tight like fight machine, and you could tell in the way that he moves. Like even I think about like when you dodge Colossi, in the way that he rolls, it looks like there's desperation there. Of just like, this isn't something I practiced 1,000 times. This is literally like, I need to get out of the way. And I'm going to jump as far as humanly possible. And even the times, as frustrating as it is, when he's slow to get up, and it's like, if I also got hit in the chest by like even the smaller ones, when they like ram you and stuff like that, I'm like, I would be on the ground for a while because that would fucking hurt.
That word desperation really does emphasize a lot of his actions and his animations. almost to like the way his arms and everything flail.
Yeah.
Because he simply is just somebody who he's not trained to do this. He just has something to do for somebody who he loves, and it has to get done.
Yeah.
No more said, no less said. It just needs to get done.
Yeah.
And you feel that. That's why you check on her all the time. That's why you're like you're taking on these things that are like absolutely ridiculous because you just need to do it to save her.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the beauty of it, where like it just all comes together so masterfully.
Yeah.
And to the point where it's like I play that game. For me, Shadow of the Colossus is kind of like your Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Where it's like I will play that game at least 2-3 times a year.
Yep.
Every time. Because that's how much it means to me personally.
It's a good choice. Yeah. It's a very good choice. And I love Team Ico. I played Ico before. Like pretty much anything they make, I will try out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess to kind of talk about that, you play it multiple times a year.
Yeah.
What is the impact the game, had on you?
It, again, kind of like I talked about when we first talked about it, of like it makes me feel that problems in life are actually like solvable.
Yeah.
Conquerable or a way, and I remember that game story kind of having me connect to it in a way I'd never connected before.
Yeah.
Because like you might think of people in your life that you'd be willing to sacrifice it all for, like that and stuff like that, and like, everything kind of coming at a cost and all that other stuff. But it's one of those things where it does feel kind of empowering. And so when I'm, going through, the toughest parts of my life, I'll go boot the game up, and it's like, okay, you know what, let me play this game. Let me, take a moment, to kind of go do this and solve this puzzle, or like be with myself and go all like just walk around the map. You know what I mean?
Hey.
And just go walk around the map, or just go ride around. It's that's the impact that it has on me. Like I said, it's my favorite game of all time.
It's a good favorite, man.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to replay it because
I was gonna say, now you're gonna make me go dust off my PS5.
Which one's your favorite?
My favorite, Colossus.
Yeah,
14, the Guardian in the temple. It's because the falling down, like how he hits the pillars and you have to fall down and jump. That is like one of the coolest like cinematic experiences that doesn't require a cutscene.
Yeah.
So I like. Every time I get to that fight, I'm just on cloud 9 because I'm like, I feel like I'm playing Uncharted without cutscenes. It's so sick.
I try to do the thing that like when he revs it and like it shifts the camera, I try to make the jump before the camera switches back, and sometimes I miss it, but I'm just like, but
it's fun to do that because they let you control it while the cutscene's happening. It's so cool.
It is funny though that like one of my favorite things to do is because of that. Like when I fight Avion and I finally kill him, I'll just let go and the camera zooms out and the Wander's just every flying one, I'm just like
So before we move on to our last boss topic, I have 2 specific things to ask. Number 1, do you guys run away after you kill a Colossus, even though you can't get away from it?
Oh, I still run away sometimes.
It's just fun.
I just like to run away, see how far I can get before it gets to me. And
especially if I have the horse.
Yeah.
I'm taking off.
I'm taking off as far as I can, just to see how far I can get. And then secondly, you already mentioned them. Aggro is a G. I fucking love aggro so much.
Best video game horse, I would like to say. It is so... And I'm not like a horse fan in real life. But it's one of those things like aggro being your partner throughout this entire game. And also sacrificing themselves, for Wander and all that other stuff, which kind of made it like the way that happens is so amazing because you're so close to the end. And it's like you're getting there and then you're having that experience, because I remember getting on that bridge and it's starting to fall and I'm like, yo, what? Like, and you're going and you're going and you're going and you get to that point where it's just like aggro kicks you off.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because like Wander looks and like you could tell that he's so upset, and I was upset, but it's like it's right before the final boss. There's no going back.
Yeah.
There's no time to wait. You have to go do this. And luckily aggro survives. I was very happy about that.
Yeah, same.
But it was just so interesting that it's like, oh, because like you're right there. Like you can't wait anymore. Like you can't sit here with those feelings. You have to go do it. And so then
you have to fight like one of the most somber setting bosses because of all the rain and everything.
All the rain, the music. Oh, amazing.
All right. Well, thanks for bringing that game in.
Thank you for letting me chill about it.
Yeah, I love it. So it's good to see another game that I love getting just absolutely
I
loved and valued.
It's one of those things that's like, if you can play it, listeners at home, viewers, just like you, thank you. I loved PBS as a kid, but go play that game. Like honestly, it's one of those things where when people say like video games aren't a good medium to tell a story, I just like tap the sign, and I'm like, Shadow of the Colossus is right there.
Yeah, 100%. I will say we're actually a bit out of time, so we're not going to do the last boss topic. What we're going to do is the video game vocab, and then final credits.
I'm so sorry for taking over.
No.
So you're gonna get to your last boss?
No apologies. You gushed about one of the best games. It's better than any last boss.
Yeah.
So I wanted to close out the vocab with franchise. It's a word you'll hear a lot about video games. And a franchise is actually a set of video game releases that follow a common theme, often featuring the same brand, where the video games collectively take place across different places or times within the same video game universe. I actually learned something when I was doing this. There's a distinction between this and series. Series tell a story, a direct story. Franchises only exist if there's multiple stories that don't just center on one person. Like the Mario series has Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, like Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
It's a franchise. Same thing with Zelda. It's a franchise. It's not the same Link every time.
Right.
But like Mass Effect, Intel Andromeda wasn't a franchise because it was just Shepard.
Got it.
So it was just a series. So that weird distinction was unique to find out when I was researching this.
So are Sonic games a franchise or a series?
Yes, they're a franchise because Tails, Knuckles, all the other characters get their own games and stuff.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Mario also classifies because there's no direct correlation between the games.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, he's on another adventure to save Peach. It's like, yeah, there's no coherence there.
Oh, interesting.
Nice.
All right. But yeah, learn something new.
Well, it is time for the final credits. This is the last part of the show where we give
You
30 seconds
uninterrupted.
to say whatever your heart desires.
Be it salty
Sweet.
or say nothing at all.
The mic is yours.
Tell us what's on your mind.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so check it out. Here's the thing that I feel right now, and I feel very passionately about. We are at a point in video games where games look good. They all look good. So what's more appealing to me, and I hope that games start doing this, is we don't necessarily need realism all the time. Have a distinct style that you lean into, that you put your weight behind, that has a vision to it to stick out. One of the best things to happen to Street Fighter 6 is the fact that it leaned into a style.
Yeah.
What happens with fighting games, other games like that, lean in.
Cut.
Nice.
Good job, bro.